And now it's time to change the tone of the game because it's time to talk serious on the morning ride. Welcome to the melting point of memories 96.5 FM. So glad to have you here because we are about to talk about the country. We're about to discuss what is going on in the country. And today's topic actually is something that we had already discussed last week. It's something that pertains to us. And there's an update. So we're going to be talking about that with an analyst today. Welcome once again to the melting point. My name is SHARON MANDOR. 6 minutes gone past the hour of 10. So from now till the top of the hour, that is 11, we will be discussing this country. All right, the brief background of the story. President Bola Tinubu has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to suspend the implementation of the controversial cybersecurity levy policy and ordered a review. This followed the decision of the House of Representatives, which last Thursday asked the CBN to withdraw its circular directing all banks to commence charging a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on all electronic transactions in the country. The CBN on the 6th of May 2024 issued a circular mandating all banks, mobile money operators and payment service providers to implement a new cybersecurity levy following the provisions laid out in the Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention (ETC) Amendment Act 2024. Now, according to the Act, a levy amounting to 0.5% of the value of all electronic transactions will be collected and remitted to the National Cybersecurity Fund, overseen by the Office of the National Security Advisor. Financial institutions are required to apply the levy at the point of electronic transfer origination. The deducted amount is to be explicitly noted in customer accounts under the descriptor cybersecurity levy and remitted by the financial institution. All financial institutions are required to start implementing the levy within 2 weeks from the issuance of the circular. So by implication, the deduction of the levy by financial institutions should commence on the 20th of May 2024. I'm being joined by political affairs analyst Otuekon Donald Okere. Good morning, Otuekon.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Akwa Ibom. Good morning, Nigeria. And like I always love to say, I want to remind everybody this morning that Jesus remains the Lord of all.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, how are you doing? How's your weekend?
My weekend was a sweet weekend. I had a beautiful day in church yesterday, and there was this shower of blessing that came yesterday in church. And even today we've had one, even though some people have been beaten by the rain, but it's still a very good, the weather is cooler, and but it means better days are coming.
Yes. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, seriously.
I was talking to my mom yesterday about how Nigeria is doing and all of that, and I told her at the end of the day, after the conversation, I said the president said that there's light at the end of the tunnel. My mom said it's not all tunnels that have lights.
And the good woman is saying the simple truth. It's not all tunnels. So this tunnel, I mean, it really, yesterday, was it yesterday or I think was it on Friday, yes. I was with some guys, and the guy asked me a question and said, look at the way starting in the first year. Are we going to be like this for the next 4 years? I told him, I had just one answer for him. I said, look, you have to try as much as possible to live under God's economy. That if you are expecting these people to transform Nigeria, just forget it, it won't happen. There's no light at the end of this very tunnel, but there is light at the end of God's tunnel. So that is where we should be putting our hopes in.
I just hope that, things turn around and surprise you and so many people that feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But Otuekon, to the topic of discuss today, first of all, the question that we would like to find out the response to is the effectiveness of the announcement by the president. How effective do you think that it will be? Because I'm saying that because after the CBN announced it, so many people were against it, including Nigerians, the average Nigerians. Yeah. There was a backlash of that announcement, or after the announcement on social media. Everyone was against it. Femi Falana, human rights activist, was against it. The SARAP, came out against it, said CBN should take it back. Budget came out, said take it back. Eventually, National Assembly came into this, House of Reps said no. So the CBN hasn't said anything about this, and we have 7 more days to the supposed implementation of this cybersecurity levy. So how effective would this announcement from the president be?
Yes, even though we have supposedly a central bank that is meant to be independent of executive control, but the idea of imposing any kind of taxation, especially on the general public and not on financial institutions, is not the preserve of the central. The central bank does not have any right to do that. So if you have to impose any taxation on the people, you have to pass it through the government. There has to be the approval of the government, and that is supposed. I'm saying this supposedly I'm saying this. Let us say this in how would I use it? This kind of a perfect situation where you could say that the CBN is an independent institution, and we know for a fact that the CBN in Nigeria is not independent like central banks in other countries are. It is still tied to the apron string of the executive, and the head of the executive is the president, who has made this announcement that look, these things is not supposed to be, taking it back, because this taxation does not have a human face. So we all know that Mr. President is Mr. Taxation, and I've said it here in this studio, that expect the president to bring in more and more taxes. And remember that
but when you say that, this is somebody that just announced that he's feeling the plight of the people, and so the cybersecurity levy shouldn't go on. So how do you call him Mr. Taxation?
Well, you see, looking at this,
and this is the same person that constituted a committee, the Presidential Taxation Committee, to try to see how this taxation, multiple taxation, can be reduced.
He didn't say more. I think he was talking about this unifying the tax regime mostly. It's not really that it will be reduced. You see, every man is a sum total of his experiences. You look at Mr. President when he was governor of Lagos. He has always accredited himself from raising the tax, the volume of tax in Lagos from, I think, 600 million monthly to I don't know how many billion. And if you know those who have lived in Lagos, I used to visit Lagos on a very regular basis when he was the governor of Lagos, and I can tell you this, that Lagosians were paying heavy taxes even after he left. The huge amount of money Lagos has now, you can accredit that to him. He developed the tax regime that Lagosians were now able to pay what in their own eyes is adequate taxation, but in the eyes of the paying public who did not see the result of the high taxes they were paying, the Lagosians were paying too much. I have friends, I have colleagues of mine who own businesses, especially in the computer village. And you enter the computer village, what is the result of the taxes? Up to today, you don't really see much. So, Mr. President is Mr. Taxation. I've said it here before on several occasions that look, this man is going to make us to pay huge taxes. And he came out one day to say that there is a 20 trillion tax gap that Nigeria must bridge to be able to afford ourselves the level of development that we want. And this is exactly where we are going. I don't think that this new tax, this cybersecurity tax, took even Mr. President by surprise. There is no way the CBN would have come up with that new tax regime or new tax levy without Mr. President having a knowledge. It may not have been the approval.
So what do you now call these statements that he has made, reportedly suspending the cybersecurity levy? What do you now call it? Drama, policy statement, not policy, political statement? What do you now call it?
Well, you see, politicians can double back when the people, there is a kind of a backlash from the people about issues like this. So Mr. President is just doing the same thing, and he knew the people will, or maybe he may not have known, but looking at the backlash, the negative impact, the negative response from the people, it has forced him to, look at this policy and say, look, the best thing, I can't afford to have this kind of continuous challenges from people from left to right over my policy. So he's trying to retrace, and I don't think he has really taken back that policy. I think he's talking about the review of that policy for now. Suspension and then review. Yes. So the thing we need to understand is that cybersecurity levy, like they call it in other countries, is not a new thing. Nigeria didn't even start it. It has been there in America. But one thing Nigerians need to understand is this: we don't have the kind of internet penetration that you see actually in other countries. For example, America should have, I think, internet penetration of up to almost 100% or close. Most of these nations, and their internet services are far better than what you see in Nigeria. I remember when I had a conversation with some missionaries, and we were talking about one of the great men of God in America, and the man didn't even know about those men, and those two guys didn't know about the man. And we were trying to check online, and the guy brought out his phone, tried to check the name of the person, and the internet was slow, and he was telling me, oh, internet in Nigeria is so slow. You know, in America they use fiber optics. In Nigeria here you have to do a lot of things to get those fiber optics connections in your offices. Is so expensive. In fact, internet connection is one, expensive in Nigeria for you to even connect to it. Number two, is very expensive in terms of even the payment, you know, because of the different layers we pass through to get to the end user. So when you have such a poor internet penetration of between 35 and 45, you cannot really levy this kind of taxes on people like this. That's on number one. Number two, you need to understand that the cyber security challenges America and other great bigger nations face is far more than what Nigeria is facing. You have these challenges they have between the West and the East. Russians are very good at hacking, and they are not really interested. What are they hacking Nigerian this internet space for? There's no real need in Nigeria, because we don't pose a threat to them in any given way. America is not going to hack our own, and then even hackers, because our businesses are not that interconnected through internet. Do you know that even this nuclear plant, you understand, a lot of things are done in the nuclear plant across the globe through the internet, you know, powering the thing, doing a lot of things there. You know, that is how America has been able to hack, or Israel has been able to hack into, destroy certain this nuclear stuff. Yeah.
What you're talking about is from a nation to another, like what happened between the recent accusation between UK and China,
yes,
saying that China hacked into
yes,
all of that. But how about internal cybersecurity crimes, where someone in Lagos State, for example, hacks into a company's, okay, for example, the real life issue of a 19-year-old that hacked into EFCC's portal, that hacked the EFCC's portal.
Yeah, you need to understand that when it comes to these cybersecurity challenges, the one between nation and nation are really the big issues. You understand me?
But even from nation to nation, or
yes,
to another nation,
oh, yes,
CBN, even certain lawyers have come out to say that some of the things that they even hack, we might not even notice it. But there are things being done and we are not aware of it. And then it's very important that we have a protection, and that is the fighting for cybersecurity.
Yes, you see, I was going there. You see, the fact is this: the kind of challenges right now, American National Security Agency of America may have viruses in our systems, in the CBN, which we don't even know. Those ones you can't even see it, and this is why nations are taxing their corporations. Are you getting me? Heavy amount of money for this. You understand me? Now, when you compare to our cybersecurity challenges, it is very simple for us to deal with it without even applying huge monies on it. For example, a bank can have their own firewall. You understand? You don't need to tax the people to go and do that. A bank can have its own firewall, which you can simply prevent a lot of those things happening. In fact, why companies are being hacked across the globe is simply because they don't have their own firewall up to date. You know, it is that simple. You know, a bank can employ their own cyber security experts to manage the security within the banking system, or corporations that these things are needed. Now, for you to tax the whole nation for that is on one score. It is absolutely wrong in a country like Nigeria, because we don't even have that kind of cyber security challenge. And how do you even solve the Yahoo problem that we are having in Nigeria? Do what India did. Create and enable. Most of them are into this life of crime simply because of one reason only, and that is that there are no other avenues available for them to actualize themselves. So they go into the life of crime, which is very simple for them to go and get money. This is what India did. India has we are just at the backlash of this thing because we are a third world country. India has more hackers than Nigeria. And what did India do? What did India do? India created an opportunity, and today India is #1 as far as software is concerned in the world. I've said it here. If you look at any tech company today, and you have 50 tech engineers working in those firms. If there are 50, 40 are going to be Indians across the globe. The MD of Microsoft today is an Indian. Many tech companies, the MD I think Twitter space at Twitter too is an Indian. You see the point? So they are there because the government created this opportunity for them to grow, and you don't have those kind of challenges again in India. So in Nigeria, why are you taxing the average person? And number two thing you need to understand about this cyber security stuff is this: that in foreign countries, these monies are not levied on the average citizen. They are levied on corporations. You understand? Banking. And not all corporations, in fact. Corporations who are liable, who are susceptible to this kind of attacks, who are internet dependent on the operations. You understand me? These are the companies that are primarily targeted for these taxes. You know, not on the average citizens of the country. But this one way they say that somebody who has maybe 5,000, 1,000 in his bank account, we want to go and take for example now, I want to load 500 naira on my phone to browse. You get the point I'm trying to say. That money must be taxed. It's wrong. Okay, it doesn't happen anyway.
That reminds me of what Senator Shehu Umar Buba said, saying that this cybersecurity tax or levy is supposed to be not on bank customers or individuals, but it should be targeting financial institutions.
Yes.
It shouldn't be for individuals, but for companies and telecom companies, all these companies that are, more prone to being hacked and, having these cybersecurity issues.
Challenges, yes.
So you're with the senator on that?
Yeah, I'm looking at even what other nations are doing. The countries we are copying. In America, it's not everybody that is taxed. The telecommunication companies are supposed to pay. You understand? Because they are so dependent on communication, and these are communications are being targeted. You see the point? But when you bring it to the average citizen in the street, and you say my old mother, or who is a pensioner, and my old auntie in the village who has a bank account and just wants to withdraw, maybe the son sent money, and okay, let me go and withdraw the money, and you tax her for every 1,000 she withdraws, you take 0.5%. It is absolutely wrong. It is inhuman. You understand me? That tax regime does not have a human face, and it should be withdrawn like Mr. President has done.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is the Melting Point on Memories 96.5 FM. Now, let's talk about the independence of the CBN. The CBN is supposed to have its own autonomy.
Yes.
It's supposed to be independent of the judiciary, the executive, the legislature, and all of that. But the president weighing into this matter, calling for the suspension of this levy. What does he say about the independence of the CBN?
Delved into an area that he may not have, he doesn't have full jurisdiction. The CBN can tax the banking sectors, can ask them to pay certain levies like they normally do. But you cannot cross over to the average citizen and say they should be paying so much money. And cyber security is not even the duty of the central bank. You understand me? It's not even their business. It is the business of the the leadership of this country, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and is the head of any security matter in this country. So it is his duty now to make laws and policies involving our security. You understand me? Now, if the CBN said, okay, all banks, because of the cyber security challenges we are having in our banking sector, we are going to tax bankers, we are going to levy them, and then we are going to use that money and domicile the money in the central bank, and then employ certain experts who are going to manage the cyber security of all the banks in the country. It would have made sense to people. But for you to now say that every Nigerian citizen who is simply a customer in the bank and is even right now overpaying certain bank charges, you understand me, to come down and pay another whatever you call it, is absolutely wrong. And then who are we even following? We are not following what others are doing. We are doing our own thing in a very strange way. You know, so it is absolutely wrong for the central bank to have dealt into that area. They don't have a right to impose taxes on Nigerians. It is the president, it is the government of the country or the state or the local government who has the power to do that. The business of the central bank is money management and the management of institutions that money flows through to either the citizens or the state. That is their duty.
So the president is right for calling for a suspension. It's in his jurisdiction to do that.
Certainly. It is in the jurisdiction, it is the duty, the right of Mr. President to do that. That is on one score. And then it is not even human for any government to impose such taxes on the generality of people. It's very, very wrong. What Mr. President needs to do to raise money is to cut down the cost of governance, is not to work on the productive sector of this economy, which is not being worked on right now.
You know, another concern of the average Nigerian is the fact that this money is actually going to the NSA to work on cybersecurity, and people are asking about the legitimacy of that. How legal is it for money to be deducted from people's online transactions, from their monies going to the account of the NSA for whatever purpose? Let me not just narrow it down to cybersecurity.
Yeah, it's very, very wrong. Number one, the office of the NSA, monies have been appropriated for that office in the budget. Now, you're telling us that this money should now be taken from people's account and then domiciled in the office of the NSA. Has that money been appropriated for by the National Assembly? You understand me? You cannot get money, any budget. One of the challenges they are shouting about in Rivers State is that the man is spending money. The Commissioner for Finance just resigned and said he resigned. He gave his reason, that the reason he resigned is that the state governor is spending money that has not been appropriated for. You know, the budget has not been passed by the state assembly and is spending that money. So how are you going to spend money that has not been appropriated for, and you now collect these taxes and then send it to the office of the NSA? The NSA does not have a vault to store such amount of money. Why should you take it to that office? It was absolutely illegal. So for them to make that such a thing was wrong. So,
all right. The IMF. Okay, before I go into the IMF, if this stands, what will be the impact of this on Nigeria going back into, or Nigeria's intending purpose of going into a cashless economy?
Well, the issue of cashless economy, as you know, we don't need to tax people to go into
no, the question now is because so many people now are saying, if I'm doing online transactions and you have to take 0.5 of my money, why can't I just withdraw whatever money I have inside my account and put it under my pillow, or put it in one savings box in my room or something? It looks like Nigerians will now go back to cash in hand economy.
Yeah, I think it has. Nigerians are even we are complaining about being overtaxed by the banks. There are certain banks that in fact, some of us have refused to open accounts in those banks because you hear people complain. There's no day they don't take out money in your bank account. You look at your phone, they will charge money. You do this, they will charge money. So it's becoming too much. Nigerians are overtaxed by the banks. Too many charges running into trillions. Now some of the trillions that the former CBN governor took was from there. You know that it took up to 4 trillion. They said 4 trillion was missing, that he should come and give us this. These monies were from all these charges that are charging us every day, every second. Monies are being taken out of our banking system. So when you overtax the people, you now, even though Nigerians put money in banks because number one, the ease of sending money to people who are not around, maybe you have a relative or somebody who want to send money or receive money from somewhere. There's benefit of banking, putting money in your bank. But when the charges are becoming too much, I get me, you're going to discourage people from putting these monies in their bank account. You're going to really encourage keeping monies at home, and then increasing the challenges we used to have in those days where armed robbers will come and look for money. I've been a victim of armed robbery attack, and they came in to take money in my house. I get me. So like that, and in fact I was so lucky because I had some good money in the house that day, and I had to take that money it was on a Friday. I had to take part of that money to the bank, huge amount of money, quite huge, you know, leaving some other amount of money in the house, which was for recurrent expenditure. Let me use that term, you know, but they came to take it. Now, you know, when you keep on overtaxing people, you're going to encourage people, you're going to discourage people rather from taking that money to bank, put in the banking, the deposit money bank. That is the challenges we are going to have, you know. And you're now empowering people from having monies themselves, because Nigerians are so taxed and we are not seeing the result of the taxation. You understand? These monies are not entering. You know, I was discussing with a friend of mine on a sister station the other day. We were talking about, look at even the market we have in Akwa Ibom. I can tell you, see it and market there. On average, it and market million. From who makes a call where? You understand me? And yet there are kidnappers. Just yesterday, I listened to BBC this morning. Just yesterday, about 70 students have been kidnapped in Kogi State. And they are going to use the phones of those people. It is going to be used properly to stop the cyber crime that we are seeing. Are you getting me? Look at even the issue of, right now they are telling the POS operators, go and register, what do you call it? Go and register with CAC to help us track. Those people are registered in the bank. Can't you go to the bank to track them? Simply because you want to generate more money. You are now hiding under the idea of stopping this thing. When we have need, we have not been able to stop kidnapping. Kidnapping has increased. You have